All right. Good afternoon, everybody. So, yesterday was the yartzeit of the Berach Moshe, the previous Satmar Rebbe, and today is the yartzeit of Rav Victor Miller. These are two Gedolei Yisrael that I have encountered in my life, and I wanted to speak about both of them. So yesterday I actually made the pilgrimage to the kever of the Rebbes of Satmar, and the minhag is that during Nisan you only go to the kever where there's the yartzeit. So even though I was by Rabbeinu Kodesh, Rabbeinu Yoel, I only left the kvittel by the Berach Moshe, and not only did I encounter both of them, but my local Rav, who we all know and love, Rabbi Fishbein Shlita, had the strong shaykhs to both of these gedolim. So it's kedai maybe to share some of the stories I heard from our Rav Shlita, from Rabbi Fishbein, from White Lake Rav Shlita. But first, I wanted to a little bit reflect on the idea yesterday making a pilgrimage to the kever of Tzaddik. What does that mean? What's the inyan? And what purpose does it serve, etc.? And in talking about that, I was thinking about it yesterday, and part of it is I was trying to see. The computer at work is a little slow because I do so much different things. I wanted to see if on Hebrew books they had Berach Moshe. I know they have the Divrei Yol. I didn't know if they had the Berach Moshe. And the reason why I said that is because the Divrei Yol, the Satmar Rebbe, made it clear that he felt that you should not go stam for no reason to kever tzaddik without learning their Torah. He said otherwise you're going to a glatter stein, just to a smooth stone, and you're not really accomplishing anything without learning their Torah and trying to follow in their ways, and not learning the Torah, at least telling the stories and things like that. Stories that have a Musar Haskell, trying to follow the examples that we see from the tzaddikim. And I was contemplating this because I didn't have a gelegenheit to learn. I have one of the volumes of Berach Moshe, I think on Sefer Shmois. I have at home on the Book of Exodus, and it's not really a sefer that I've learned very much, to be honest. So it's like, so how could I go to L'Geshes al Kodesh to do such a thing, to go make a pilgrimage without doing like the Holy Rebbe taught, that you have to learn the Torah of the Tzaddik if you're going to make a pilgrimage to the kever. And especially we have, Baruch Hashem, the Sefer Berach Moshe, meaning I know a lot of people are going to be in Kerastir next week, B'Tz Hashem. I wish them well. They should have safe trips. I wish I could go there. Maybe I'll go if I'm not doing anything else on Sunday, which I think I might be, or Monday maybe even. Maybe I'll go to my great-grandparents are buried right near Rabbi Shiloh's brother in Staten Island. So maybe I'll go to Staten Island, but Staten Island's also a schlep, so I don't know if I'm going to make it there, even to Staten Island. Also in Kiryas Yol, there are Einiklach of Rabbi Shiloh who are buried there, including the Kerastir Berbish Rebbe, Zechron Levracha, who one of my friends was biased by him, and I met a few times. In any event, so maybe it's kedai to go over there, But anyway, the point that I'm bringing up is, so what are we accomplishing, going and making this pilgrimage? And I'll tell you, when I was there yesterday, so because what did I do? I spent some gas, right? The one thing I did was I made Birkas Eilanos, and I think I might have looked at the wrong tree. I don't know, because the tree that I had in mind that was on the Misaskim list was not the tree that I got a little confused with the GPS. After I made the bracha, I was like, oh, that was the tree. But this one, Mistam, is also like it looked like a fruit tree, and it was blooming. So I hope I didn't make a bracha of a tola. Or also, like I said, the bracha could be before the re'iyah, because I saw the re'iyah afterwards anyway. But in any event, back to what I was saying about that. So I also made Birkas Eilanos, and I got to go to the mikveh. You know, I don't get to go to the mikveh every day. I got to go to the mikveh. I went after I went to the kever before I made Birkas Eilanos. Went to the mikveh. That's what I remember by Satmar Rebbe Shlita. I used to go, and I remember I went with him once to Berach Moshe, and he went not just a regular mikveh, and he'd been to the mikveh in the morning, I'm assuming, but he went to like some kind of a kval, like Mayim Chaim mikveh, before he went to, this was in Yerushalayim, we went to the kever of Shmuel Hanavi, and not to the kever itself, but down the hill from the kever of Shmuel Hanavi, to go to make Birkas Eilanos. But anyway, when I got there to the B'Sachayim, to the cemetery in Kiryas Yol, in Monroe, I guess it's not Monroe anymore, it's Palm Tree. One of the current Satmar Rebbes, the son of the Nifter, of the Bali Lula, was there. I couldn't see which Rebbe it was. I couldn't see if it was Reb Aaron or Reb Zalman Leib. Because I saw one of the Hosbucher looked like Reb Aaron's Hosbucher, but now with Gaba, he's in German already. And then, but I remember when he was Hosbucher. But then I saw what it looked like. I thought I saw a Reb Lipa title, Baal Genterov, who, if he's there together with his brother, he's going to be with Reb Zalman Leib. So, but I couldn't see which Rebbe was there. But I was in there the same time as one of the current Rebbes, and I have a shaykhus to both of them. I don't pick sides in those types of politics. I have enough with the Goyish politics. I'm going to take sides in Yiddish politics. You know, so, and I get enough trouble with the Goyish politics. So anyway, but I was reflecting on that today. What am I accomplishing? Why am I going on this trip to go and say a few tehillim, light a candle, give some tzedakah, say a few tehillim? All right, those are all good things to do any time, any place. Write a little note and put it on the grave. And I realized yesterday someone reached out to me. Someone might be watching the video, asking about Hasidus, and this is not bedavka Hasidish things. It doesn't make you a Chosid, but I'm saying, like, it's when we look at this derech, this type of Yiddishkeit, and how it's different, right, than other communities that don't have practices like this, and the distinction, this, essentially, it's veneration of saints. It's not different than what some other religions, how they do it. Just we have different saints. I know that sounds blasphemous, but it's what it is, And the point I'm saying with that is also the way that they venerate is not necessarily a Avodah Zarah. It might be. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But this whole Indian of making a pilgrimage, things like that, it reaches something in the soul, in the psyche, in the mind, that is visceral that is very human, that is not, any kind of it's not an intellectual pursuit, right? It's not a Blat Gemara. But a Blat Gemara could be like this too. And I think a Blat Gemara should be like this too. I'm not saying a Blat Gemara should not be intellectual. But we should approach a Blat Gemara with that same flam fire, with the same emotions, the same excitement. We learn in Berach Moshe, we learn some Tanakh, some Chumash Rashi, we learn the Chok, whatever we're learning. It should be that same inyan, like the Moranayim says, that when you learn the Torah of a tzaddik, it's an inyan hishtachlis ala kever. That it's and you don't need to explain what is the inyan of hishtachlis ala kever. You don't have to explain what a pilgrimage is. A pilgrimage is not something you can explain in a logical way. It's something you have to experience. It's just the same thing. You can read Shmir's Shabbos Kilchosa, but until you keep a Shabbos, until you live a Shabbos, you don't understand it. Being a leiv, a bal leiv maven. That there's certain things you cannot put into words. You can talk about them, but you cannot explain them. There's a difference of the poetry and the prose, of the mythos and the logos. And this is our mythos. And it's a mythos that other people have in their traditions that is different than ours. But there's something essentially human about having these experiences. And so to go and do something that's a little bit weird, a little bit out of the ordinary, to go to a cramped mausoleum, you light a candle, you leave a note, you say some psalms, say some Tillim. It's a weird, different type of experience, but it does something for us. I'm not looking at it about, although I made certain bakoshes and things that I want, things that I asking for, and and I prayed for my friends, and all that stuff. But just the experience itself is so satisfying. It's more satisfying than anything secular. And I love secular stuff. People know I don't live up to the Satmar. I don't live up to Rav Victor Miller. I don't live up to any of these big tzaddikim. I'm nowhere near them. I'm very, very much in the secular world, and I have a geschmack from the secular world. But the geschmack from a Blat Gemara is much greater than that. That's the one thing I want to give over to my children. I let them see things in the world that are clean and okay. But I want them to know, you enjoy that, the Blat Gemara is better. The Blat Gemara is more exciting than the video game. And I enjoy a video game. It's more exciting than a movie. I enjoy a movie. To finish Shas is more satisfying than to watch every Godzilla movie or to watch every episode of The Simpsons. And to go and have these experiences, it's something we enjoy as human beings. It's part of, the human experience. To go do things, go see things, go make trips, go do things that are a little different than what we do every day. If you do it every day, maybe it's not as exciting. It's something you do once in a while. You go on a yartzeit, you go at a special time, Erev Rosh Chodesh, whatever it is. So that was just my reflection of that experience being, and the thing was I wanted to go when nobody was there, and I wound up being there when it was the most crowded it could be, because one of the Rebbes was there. There was a lot of Bochurim, obviously, and with all that being said, I was in and out in 20 minutes, from when I left my car, got back to my car. So, not bad. So my personal memories of the Berach Moshe, of the Satmar Rebbe, previous Satmar Rebbe. The first Hasidic Tish I ever went to was here in Swan Lake. I'm not in Swan Lake now, I'm in Coshecton now, but 30 minutes down the road in Swan Lake at Machne Devrayol, when they first opened that, I remember it was a big tent, and Rabbi Fishbane and his kids, we went, and we looked around a little bit, and it was very big. I remember I was able to, it was Motzei Shabbos, Malav Malka, yartzeit Tish, and I was able to maybe see over. I got up on a chair and looked for a second, could catch a glimpse of the Rebbe. That's what I remember. I was, 14, 15 years old. It was very exciting. Probably 15, maybe 16. And then, that's the first time I'd ever been to a Hasidic Tish. And I still remember that. And then, over the years, if I would go spend Shabbos in Williamsburg, I would like to go to Shalosh Shudis by Satmar and Rodney Street. And one time, there was a Friday night Tish in the Rebbe's house. I remember going. Again in Machne Devrayol in Swan Lake a few times to the Rebbe, and I took a video, which you're not supposed to do. And it's on YouTube. You can look up. That was the last year before the Rebbe was nifter by his uncle's yartzeit Tish. And one time I was there. Hanukkah was also the last year before he passed away, so it was later that year. Went to Hanukkah Lech, and a few Bochurim from Lander College. We went, and we gave Kvitlich to the Rebbe. And those are all of my memories of the Berach Moshe. Our local Rav, Rabbi Fishbane Zilgazonzain, when he lived in Williamsburg, that's where he davened, because he lived on Hughes Street. And so then he was still a Sigurder Rebbe. This was before he moved to Borough Park, when he was still in Williamsburg. And he used to daven there in the Sigurder Besmedrish, which is a block away from the Calver Besmedrish on Hughes Street in Williamsburg. So Rabbi Fishbane had a very close shaykhis to the Sigurder Rebbe at the time. And the story goes that we heard here was that our town supervisor, Mr. Alan Scott, he should be well, went one time to go visit the Berach Moshe, and he asked the Rebbe, "Do you know Rabbi Fishbane?" And he said, "Yes, Rabbi Fishbane is my friend." That's the story there. So that's pretty much all I have. Obviously there are other stories that are told about the Berach Moshe. What a tremendous Anaf he was. What a special person, kind person he was. And how he conducted himself with humility, things like that. And it's interesting, his yartzeit was the yartzeit of Yehoshua ben Nun, just like with Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was the sun and Yehoshua was the moon. So that was how the Berach Moshe looked at the Pikodim from the Fetter, right? That he had from his uncle. He had something that he had to give back, So that's Aleph. So now, all right, we spoke 20 minutes about the Berach Moshe. Maybe we should make a separate video about Rav Victor Miller, who probably had a much bigger impact on my life than the Berach Moshe did. But I have my children go to the Satmar schools. I have one daughter who goes to Reb Aaron's school and two daughters go to Reb Rebbe's school. So I'm totally neutral in Satmar, and so anyway, we'll stop here and then we'll talk about Rav Victor Miller. Well, the rest of it, I'm almost home, but for a few minutes we'll talk. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment. We'll see you later. Is this thing? How did I turn this off?